West Sussex. Steve.
Hello, Nick.
Steve.
Now, right. I've been sat here for a good hour listening to you putting the lead voters down.
Yeah, ranting.
Saying we don't know. I know plenty of people who knew what they were voting for. I actually did 6 weeks research. I've got friends in the farming and fishing industries.
You did 6 weeks research?
Yep.
What does that mean?
Before I actually made my decision of whether I was going to vote against or for.
6 weeks research?
Yeah.
Talk me through it.
I'm not going to go there with that at the moment. What I'm going to go with
you just did go there.
Do you? Yeah, but do you know what democracy means? I mean, I'm sure you're smart enough to look it up, but do you know what democracy means? Well,
tell me. What's the point you're going to make?
It originates from the Greeks.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter where it originated. No one's interested in its derivations, Steve.
So you're not going to let me speak?
Go on.
Good. Right. It means that a group of people or their representatives get together and take a vote, and then they go with the majority.
Yeah.
Now, this happened in 2016. And because it was not the result that certain people wanted, i.e. the Remainers, they have done everything in their power, backed by the EU, financially as well as politically, to stop what was the People's Democratic vote.
Right. Well,
doesn't matter how you look at it.
Think that
that is exactly what has happened.
I don't think that it was funded by the EU. I think that's incorrect. But anyway,
okay.
But let me ask you this. Wait a minute. But does democracy mean that you only get to decide once on an issue, and regardless of the majority's feelings subsequently, you must always stick with what happened on one particular day many years ago?
Right. First of all, the democratic vote was taken, and it was not instigated and adhered to. Because if it had been,
not immediately,
3 years ago, we would have left the EU.
Yes,
okay?
and now this country would be in absolute catastrophic ruin if we just left. Steve, you started this out by saying that you had done a lot of research. Apparently, you haven't done any research at all. If we'd left, no, you haven't. What do you mean? Of course. Why is it of course?
Okay, the EU is supposed to be a free trade.
A free trade. They
charge
is supposed
the UK
to be a
alone,
free trade.
They charge the UK
a free
alone
trade what?
Over 80% tariff on over 200 goods coming into the UK from the EU.
What goods?
That is facts. I don't know exactly what goods, but those are the facts. Those are government facts.
So you don't know what you're talking about, but it doesn't prevent you from having a strong opinion.
Oh, because I can't name apples,
name
pears,
one.
And everything else.
Name one. 80%? Name one.
Over 80% of tariff on 80% up to 80% tariff.
Up to? Well, that includes the number 0. Up to.
Yep. Right. No.
Well, it does. Up to.
Obviously,
it's like one of those signs you see on a shop. Up to 75% off sale. That means that nothing in there is at 75% off. It's all 10%.
It could be 1%.
Yes.
Up to 100%.
It's meaningless to say up to.
Right. Well, that's what was broadcast, and that was the government figures.
I'm just curious. Where did you do this 6 months of research?
Not 6 months. I said 6 weeks.
All right. Where?
On the internet.
Oh.
I actually went to the EU site, and I looked at EU legislation and laws, etc.
And which one didn't you like?
A lot.
Well, which one? After 6 weeks of looking at the internet there, Steve, which one did you come up with? And I knew what the answer would be before I asked the question. This happens every week on this show. Somebody such as yourself will call in and bitch and moan and whine about all the rules and regulations that we've got to follow from the EU. And every single time, I mean, I flag it up. It's a signal. You're about to fall into a trap.
Warning, warning.
Every single time I ask the same question, and it's always the same answer. In fact, I could tell you what you're going to say before you say it. Which law don't you like? And the answer always comes, all of them. In other words, you can't name a single one, because there aren't any. Which particular law didn't you like, Steve?
Hang on. In 2018...
Okay, so you can't answer the question. After 6 weeks of supposed research, investigating this issue thoroughly from top to bottom, you can't think of a single thing you learnt. Westminster. Hello, Ken.
Good evening, Mr. Abbott. Get ready, Nick.
No.
Get ready for the coming financial tsunami, which will destroy the world's economy.
I feel like I've been
Don't be ignorant.
sideswiped.
Don't be a snowflake.
Huh?
Don't be a snowflake. Get ready for the coming financial tsunami, my friend.
It's
Don't
a
be
tsunami.
snowflake.
Yeah, we're going to get hosed
That's a
down by it.
A financial tsunami is on the way, and if you don't believe me, which
No,
you don't,
I don't.
there was an article today in the paper.
Which paper?
By Mr. Pete the Mail.
Oh, well.
Peter Auburn.
You should have said. Yeah, Peter Auburn. I read it.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
you read that.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, you
Well,
need
just
to
because he
waken
says
up, my
so.
friend.
Just because
You
he
need
says
to-
so. What difference does that make? Who's
Listen, I have been saying this for a number of years.
he? Yeah,
Many
well,
others
what
have
do
been
you know,
saying
though,
this.
Ken?
I've been studying it for years, my
right.
friend.
Studying it? It? What it?
The financial situation of the world nations and the world economy. Do
Right,
you know
okay, after
that the
years
UK,
of research, what have you found?
The UK is presently, and we are the 5th richest economy in the world, the boast goes.
Yeah.
We are presently over £2 trillion in unpayable debt.
Yeah, it's worse than that, Ken.
Italy is €2.25 trillion euros in debt.
Yeah.
Greece are broke.
I know.
Portugal's broke.
Yeah, like I said, I read that
Spain's broke.
article.
Right. Well, let's talk
That's
about
not
it.
you
Don't just be
researching.
ignorant.
That's not you researching it for years. That's just you read the Daily Mail
I have
today.
known this for a number of years,
Oh,
my
right,
friend. Don't be
okay.
ignorant, Nick. You're an ignorant type of gentleman. You can't even listen to your callers.
Listen, Ken.
We are headed.
Ken,
we are headed
you're
for
not
the
listening.
greatest-
You're not listening to me. I've already said I agree with you. I know that. I know all this already.
Right. Well, let's talk about it then.
It?
Let's discuss it.
It? What it?
The coming economic tsunami, financial collapse.
Yeah, but that's just a prediction. People have been predicting that for since the year dot. Every now and again it'll happen. We'll get a recession every 10 years, there or
Right.
thereabouts.
Well, we have to learn to understand that our security does not lie in finance and in money.
Oh,
If
God.
that is
Well,
our
here we go.
security,
Yeah.
if that is our security, we're very, very
Okay, well, where should our
unhappy
security
people.
lie? In what
Well,
should
my
we
secu-
put
my-
our faith?
My security
regret
lies in
saying
my
that.
relationship with Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
right.
That's my security.
Okay,
But
and
Nick,
how's
listen,
that going, by the way, Ken?
It's absolutely wonderful. My
Yeah.
sins are forgiven. I'm not going to hell like you, my
Well,
friend.
you'll
You
know.
are on
You
the
won't
highway
know
to
till you
hell.
get there, will you?
You are on the highway to hell.
Yeah,
This
me and-
nation is on the highway
Me and
to hell.
AC/DC, yeah.
And I say that in love and concern for you, Nick. You're a
Right.
precious soul to God. Don't go to hell, my friend.
Okay. All right, I'll see you at the gates, Ken. I bet I get in before you do. This says we should have a referendum on referendums. And William in Embra says, Nick, what are you stockpiling in preparation for Brexit? Me, a mop and a bucket for all the Ramona's tears. Is he still talking?
I'm still talking. If you let me talk, if you're not afraid, are you afraid to listen? You're afraid to hear the truth. This world is headed for God's judgment.
Yeah.
God's judgment is on the Houses of Parliament
Ken,
and on this nation
Ken,
and on Europe.
if there was a God, don't you think he would have stepped in at some
There's
point?
no ifs about it. There
Yeah,
has
there
to
are.
be a
There are
creator.
only ifs. There are only
There's
ifs.
no if about
Of
it,
course
man.
there
God
are
is
only
listening to
ifs. You've
us.
got absolutely no evidence of the existence of God
Listen,
whatsoever.
My
Prove
life
it.
is an evidence of the power of God. How
Well,
God
if
changed me.
if you have
God
been made
changed
in
me
if you have been
37
made in
years
God's
ago.
image, Ken, then we're all in trouble.
We are all in trouble, but God offers us forgiveness. But you're too proud to even listen to Jesus. You're a man who is in rebellion against God.
I would be fully prepared to listen to Jesus, Ken, not you.
Well, I'm telling you what Jesus said. You must be born again to get to heaven. You mock that. Everyone in LBC mocks the gospel.
No, I think we just... No, Ken, we just mock you. You do not speak
you can mock me if you like.
I will, and I do like it. But you do not speak on behalf of God.
They mocked Jesus and killed him for claiming
Ken,
to be God.
you're not Jesus. I hate to break the news to you, but you aren't Jesus.
I am a servant of Jesus. I love Jesus. He changed my life, man. And he wants to change your life, but you're too proud. You're too proud and
well, what should I do?
What
should I do to make him less upset with me?
Call upon the name of Jesus and ask him to help you in your life, Nick. Tonight, you don't know where you'll be tomorrow.
Please, Jesus, can I
the name of Jesus
hang up on this crashing ball?
Read the Bible. Read the Bible.
Yeah, okay.
See what God has to say.
All right, leave it with me. Is it a book? If it's a book, I'll wait till the video comes out. Thanks a lot, Ken. Whew. Ipswich. Hello, Gary.
Hiya, Nick.
Gary.
How you doing?
All right.
I just want to take you back to a time of great harmony in our country, the noughties, when Tony Blair was Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, Chancellor, Alistair Campbell, spin doctor, and how they spent 400 hours debating fox hunting, and they deliberately put people up.
400 hours?
400 hours they wasted on hunting debate in the Houses of Parliament.
Really?
Yeah, a truly great waste of time.
Well, I bet it wasn't. I bet it wasn't a waste of many people's time, because if other debates in Parliament are anything to go by, no one was there.
Well, they weren't, but they deliberately put people up to stay up until 10, 11 o'clock at night debating, using up the debating time on purpose so that nobody could get a word in about the Iraq war. Oh. And this was done to the detriment of Parliament and to democracy.
Yes.
And these same people are now saying that poor old Boris, who just wants to get on and do something positive for the country...
Poor old Boris? Are you joking? Poor old Boris?
Look, Boris is a positive man. He sees the problem. We cannot move on while this elephant in the room, which is a horrible saying, is round. It's just a millstone round our neck, and we need to get rid of it. And they need to do it because the people voted for it. Now you just had some poor guy on that you put down because he spent 6 weeks looking up and whatever,
and he didn't learn a thing.
And then you
so I seriously doubt he spent 6 minutes looking anything up.
Well, look, my reason debate for wanting to leave, and why I still want to leave now, is I cannot afford to spend my money on unelected people in Europe.
Well, wait a minute. Our Prime Minister is unelected.
Other people's businesses in other countries to the detriment of the businesses in our own country.
No, that's not wrong. That's not right, Gary.
That is right.
No, it isn't. It is not right. Bringing other countries up to our standard of living benefits our country overall. Some individuals will lose out, but some individuals will lose out if you sent out a cheque for £1,000 to every household in the country. There is no such thing as a 100% positive action. But it's the same with foreign aid. And it's the same with, pumping money into Eastern European countries to bring them up to our standard. If they become as wealthy or as us, or wealthier than they are at the moment, they'll be able to afford to buy our stuff. That's the reason they do it.
Look, you don't know the way the world's going. Buy our stuff in a few years' time will be meaningless because we won't need to be manufacturing and making so much stuff in the numbers that we do now. Because there won't be the need for certain things.
Like what?
Look at yourself. You're a man who works 6 hours a weekend.
Yes.
You make enough money in those 6 hours to spend the rest of the week at South Coast resorts, pottering along the beach and having a beer. Now, for the bulk of us, we have to work 60 hours a week. Don't you think
the bulk of the people in this country? Wait a minute. The bulk of the people in this country do not work 60 hours a week.
I should imagine there is an awful lot of people that work.
No, the average is under 40.
Ask the bobbies on the beat. Ask the doctors. Ask the lorry drivers. Ask anyone.
The average working week in this country is just less than 40 hours.
Yeah, for people in the public sector who can afford, because they're being paid by.
No, but we're getting hung up on. We're getting hung up on an issue that you can't win an argument on, Gary. So maybe we should just move on. Well, you can't. The average working week in this country. I can't remember exactly, but it's like 39.8 hours a week, something like that. It's less than 40.
Do you know what would be good, Nick?
But but that's a complete irrelevance. Maybe it's my fault because if you say something that is obviously false, then I'm liable to trip you up with it.
What if I say that you only work 6 hours a week?
But that is also false.
Well, I'll give you a couple of hours sorting out to the programme
all day long. All day long.
Yeah, but I listen to your programme, and I sometimes think I'm listening to the repeat of last week.
Well, usually, Gary, when you call in and say the exact same thing that you said last week.
Then I think your jingos and little funnies, they're not so funny because I've heard them 100,000 times.
Well,
before,
isn't it curious, Gary, that you keep listening?
I know, because I am fascinated that so many people haven't become aware that you're a communist.
I'm a communist. Can you explain that?
You are the epitome of... You're probably paid by Putin.
Wow, it's funny, I've talked to you quite a few times, and I did get the feeling that you were, not nuts and kind of relatively intelligent, but you seem to be, I don't know, maybe you're drunk, or maybe you're just having a bad day, but whatever it is, you've delighted us enough. I'm a communist. What an asinine thing to say. If only I was more interested, I'd ask you how you came to that conclusion, but I just don't care. Walsall. Hello, Steve. Oh, my God. I'll try it again. Walsall. Steve. No, that didn't work. Do you want to do it? You do it for me, my glamorous assistant. Yours works. Mine doesn't. Yes, sir.
It's Walsall, mate.
I said that.
Oh, great. All right, Nick, I just wondered whether you thought Jeremy Corbyn would do a better job than maybe Boris Johnson.
What do you mean by better?
Well, I mean, Jeremy Corbyn wants to spend a lot more money than Boris Johnson does.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, anyway.
$250 billion.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You tell me, Boris... he wants to renationalise all the industries and that.
Yes, and I think that would be the will of the people.
Yeah, well, do you know why our industries was lost, Nick?
Because Margaret Thatcher wanted it that way. She wanted to take the money from the people and gift it to the few.
Well, now, let me tell you the reason why our industries was lost up north, in the Midlands and everywhere else. Because, when we joined the EU, Nick, what happened is they all decided that the French was going to get the farming, all different places. The Germans were going to get all the industry.
French were going to get the farming. What on earth do you mean by that?
Yeah.
All the farming. So we don't have a farming industry in this country.
Well, hang about, Nick.
Well, no, I'll just take them as they come. We don't have a farming industry in this country.
Well, hang on, Nick. I can remember the time, right, when you could go into the shop and buy a leg of lamb for a £5, right? And they're going about now saying that what they're going to do about being able to sell all the lamb, right, because they can't sell it to the EU no more. They put tariffs on it.
Well, that's because of the decision that we made, Steve.
Hang about.
We wanted to leave the European Union. Is your question really that the price of lamb has gone up in the last 30 years?
Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right? I can remember the time, right, that even poor people going back in the 60s and 70s, right? You could have meat and veg on the table, right? Since we've joined the EU now, the poor people have to do with chicken. The farmers. Now, hang about it.
Chicken is meat.
Yeah, of course it's meat. We know it's meat, Nick. But at the end of the day, right, the farmers are going on about saying that they're not going to be able to sell all the land because they're going to lose all this. And
if they put tariffs on it, but they would only do that because we're insisting on leaving the European Union. It's not out of nothing, Steve. It's because we're insisting on going.
Nick, you're telling me now, right? You're trying to say to me and to all your listeners here now that we're going to be 100% worse off because we leave the EU. It's like...
Well, I don't know what you mean by 100%, but we're going to be worse. We are already worse off.
Nick, listen, if I've got a car, right, and I want to sell this car to you, right, and I say to you it's £100, and my mate says, hang on, I'll sell that car for you, but I'm going to put 50 quid on top of it. That's what the EU does. Everything that we do...
Steve, all countries do that. All countries put tariffs on goods that come into their countries unless you have a trade deal that specifies otherwise.
Yeah, but Boris... Look, I know Boris Johnson is full of crap, like, we all know he's full of crap. But every single politician out there is full of crap, Nick, right? At the end of the day, right, if we leave the EU, and I can remember the time before we even joined the EU, and my life, and my family, and my parents' life was far better.
Oh, and your knees used to work, and there was actually a chance that you might have sex again. I know. And then the European Union came along and ruined everything. Come off it, Steve. This is ridiculous. I mean, seriously, of all the calls that I've taken on this subject, this is about the tip-toppermost silly one.
Hang about, Nick. Let me just finish what I'm trying to say to you, right? Because I've had a couple of drinks tonight and I've listened to your blog and I'm like, hang about. I'm going to ring this man here now because you seem to be saying...
And how's it going for you so far?
Well, I don't know. What you tell me. I honestly believe, Nick, that you're trying to create doom and gloom, and I honestly believe that. You honestly believe that we can't stand up on our own 2 feet and go out there and produce...
Steve, people like you seem to think that if somebody says anything negative about our prospects leaving the European Union or what has happened to the economy already, then that means that they are saying that this country will flip upside down, burst into flames, and then sink. And when that doesn't happen, they say, aha, you were wrong. But I've never said that. 100% wrong.
Nick, have you been up north, mate?
Yeah, of course I have. I was born in Scotland.
Have you seen what it's like up north now? I'm a bricklayer, I am, Nick, right, and I work all over the country. I mean, I'm retired now, but I have worked all over the country. And I've seen the decline up north, the industries, the steel...
And what does that have to do with the European Union?
Well, for the simple reason they all carved it up, Nick. You know they did, and I know they did.
No, I'm afraid, Steve, you have been misinformed. If your position starts out with the assertion that the European Union took all of the farming and gave it to France, I mean, that is obvious misinformation.
Well, hang about, Nick. German industry, there's no problems with them. Is that they've got their steel industry, their kids can go on apprenticeship.
Steve, you spent most of this call harking back to a time when your back didn't creak, back in the 1970s, I'll assume. Do you remember what British cars were like in the 1970s?
Nick, I'll agree with that, mate. I had an Allegro and there was the worst car I ever had in my life.
Right, yeah, precisely. And do you remember when Britain used to make its own toasters and kettles? Did you buy one of those, or did you buy a more efficient one from Japan or Germany?
I'm not saying that we shouldn't buy goods and there isn't countries out there that do better than what we do, because we'd be foolish to think that wasn't the case.
So that's the reason that British industry collapsed, because we weren't very good at it.
Well, Nick, you say that, right, but why is it then that we invented the main necessities of life?
That has nothing to do with what happened in the 1970s. You're talking about ancient history. And here's a tip for countries, by the way, don't be first. Don't invent something, because other countries will see all of the mistakes you've made and then step nimbly over your prone corpse and take all of the credit and the profits.
Hang about, Nick. Listen, Nick. Look, all I'm saying to you is the people in this country are hard working. They'll go out and work 40 hours, 60 hours a week for a decent wage. But when you're getting the EU saying, and they are threatening us, Nick, and you know that we've always had the ACE card. We've always had the ACE card.
What's the ACE card?
Well, let's be honest, Nick. If you import 80 billion and we only export 20 billion to the EU, right? You're telling me that if I'm playing a game of cards and I've got £1,000 in my pocket and you've got 100 quid and I'm playing blind, who's going to win?
It depends, Steve, on how much that it represents of the amount that you earn. I mean, if you have £1,000 and I have 100, then you are better off. But if I'll put it in the actual terms. About half of what we export goes to the European Union. It's like 46%.
Well, hang about, Nick.
Listen to me. About 46% of what we export goes to the European Union. About 5% of what they export comes to us. So we need them more than they need us.
Hang about, Nick. Listen to me, right? You keep saying that we need them more than that they need us.
We do.
At the end of the day, why is it they're doing all their shenanigans and they're playing dirty tricks with Tony Blair and do you realise...
What shenanigans are you referring to?
Hang about, you know where... you know Kinnock? You know Neil Kinnock?
Yeah.
Well, do you realise his family gets £1.7 million a year pension from the EU every year? Him and his family.
Steve, you're going off topic. What on earth does that have to do? What does that have to do with what you're talking about? You
know Nick Clegg, who's gone away now and working for YouTube or Facebook or whatever, right?
Yes.
And he was saying that there was going to be no EU army and all this. God knows what, right?
Yeah. And you know who has just said, wouldn't it be nice if the EU all chipped in and we could have a naval force? That would be us. We've just said that.
Listen, Nick, I've got nothing against the EU. I love the EU. I'll do for all the best. But all I'm saying is, Nick, is that you're trying to say to people out there, right? Well, I don't know whether you are, because I've only just listened to you tonight for the first time.
Oh, my God.
And I found you very interesting, to be honest.
Yeah,
Nick,
well, I found you interesting, as in remarkable.
Hang about, Nick. Listen, don't put us down, mate. We can do a lot better than everybody thinks. And if you think...
Then everybody thinks... Well, if everybody thinks that, Steve, then maybe everybody's got a point. Did you consider that?
Well, Nick, I do understand that, but what I'm trying to say is, right, is people are out there trying to clutch a straw now. The North has been devastated. The Midlands have been devastated.
Right, but again, nothing to do with the European Union. If you want to put the blame at somebody, put it at Margaret Thatcher's feet.
Well, you know, she was the first one who destroyed the unions, and it was all these people with the big heads have planned 20 years in advance. You know it, and I know it. And at the end of the day, it's just poor. Well, I'm not poor, Nick. I'm not poor. But what I'm saying is, I see a lot of people around me that really. They just don't know where they're going, Nick, in life. They haven't got a clue. And them clinging on. They are clinging on, Nick. Yeah. And you know, Boris Johnson's come along now and he's given this great speech. Mm-hmm. And I'm speaking to people out there now, and they're saying to me, you know so much, I feel great. And I think to myself, you know so much, you don't realise that man's just a politician who's doing everything because he knows this is what people need, but it's whether he follows through with it, Nick.
It's not what people need. He's telling you what you want to hear.
That's right, Nick. You're bang on, mate. And don't you think it's right? I mean, you know something now, Nick? I'm going to be totally honest with you now. I honestly think the honestly true politician out there who tells the truth...
Oh, God, please don't say it. Don't say it.
Nigel Farage. Well, Nick, that man speaks the truth, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Are you a member? Are you a member of his party?
No, I'm not.
Would you vote for him?
To be quite honest, Nick...
Would you consider being a member of his party? Say yes, Steve.
To be quite honest, Nick, I think I would, yes.
Okay, all right. That tells me all I need to know.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
Thanks, Steve. Blackpool. Hello, Adam. An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes, Adam. great call. That'll probably be my favourite call of the show. Manchester, Brian.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm rather puzzled, and I don't want to have a row with you.
Are you confused?
No, I'm not confused. I think you're a bit confused.
But you're puzzled. What's the difference between being puzzled and being confused?
Would you please allow me to speak?
Well, tell me, puzzled, confused?
Give me a chance. You've made a big play about Boris Johnson not being voted in properly to make big decisions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Most of the prime ministers we've had since the war were never voted in when they first took the job on.
What an outrage.
No, don't be bloody sarcastic. Do me a favour. You're a big enough prat at the best of times.
2 in a row on the Nicky Abbot show. And I'll restate my case. You see what I'm saying? I can have a nice conversation with people who want to remain, and even though things aren't going their way, Remainers are not do not have the upper hand. It is actually going the Leavers' way, and yet when Leavers call, they're clenched, fisted, furious. Swearing right out of the gate, insults right from the off. What's wrong with these people? I mean, if they're this angry when things are actually going their way, I mean, what's it going to be like afterwards when all of those promises about sunny uplands and greener grass don't come to fruition? I mean, don't worry about it. The people that are behind Brexit, the people that are put these ideas into your mind, the people who aren't millionaires are billionaires. All those people, they'll be fine. But it's people like Brian from Manchester who've been sold a song and a dance, and on the day after, and the year after, and 5 years after we leave the European Union, when their lives haven't improved spectacularly as they were promised, they're going to think, well, they'll think one of two things. Either I've been duped, which I don't think they will admit to, because that would mean loss of face, or they'll blame, God, I've got no idea. I mean, you tell me, who are you going to blame? It'd still be the fault of the European Union. Probably Hillary Clinton's fault. Blackburn, hello, Scott.
Hi, Nick. I've just watched an amazing film called Ukraine on Fire, and it's made me think of the backstop in Ireland, because the same people that were attacking Russia and demonising Putin for the Ukraine situation are the same people that are saying we can't do Brexit because of the Northern Ireland situation. And it's the same situation. It's about markets. Ukraine going to the EU, having a deal with EU, so that Russia would then, the EU would have access to Russian markets through the Ukraine, whereas the same thing is with Brexit. If we leave, it's the same concern. The Remainers have the same concern that Putin had over Ukraine. Do you understand?
No.
You don't get it?
No. I seriously doubt anybody got it from your explanation just now. So you're just seeing a movie
called Ukraine on Fire, and the Ukraine situation, the concern in Russia was if Ukraine has a trade deal with the EU and joins the EU, then it's the same situation with the backstop, the markets, because Ireland is in the EU, and if we leave, do you understand what I'm saying? It's not that difficult. It really isn't.
Well, it's very, very complicated the way you just explained it, Scott. It may be actually very, very easy, but maybe it's...
I don't think...
Maybe it's not a problem with my comprehension. Maybe it's a problem with your explanation.
The same concern the Remainers have.
The same concern the Remainers have. Well, let's go through it one by one. The same concern that the Remainers have, yes.
Is that because we leave the EU, then the EU will have the markets will have access to our markets, and the stuff will be able to come in through the through the border. We'll need a hard border.
The hard border.
So we'll need a hard border.
Hard border.
Yeah, you're just being facetious. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're pretending not to.
Yeah, but it amuses me, Scott. Let's have Hammersmith, Charles.
Hello?
Yes, Charles. There you are. Anytime you like.
Hello.
Go ahead.
So it's been very interesting listening to your conversation tonight, Nick.
But
we haven't spoken before. I must admit, I find the tone of it rather arrogant and rather insulting.
No, you haven't heard something you don't like on the radio, have you? Oh, that's very serious, Charles. What can we do to make amends?
Well, the interruption was probably worse than what I was talking about.
Interruption? What do you mean?
Well, you interrupted me.
Oh, okay, right. Well, you go ahead. How much time would you like?
Well, how much will you give me? I'll take everything I can get.
Okay. Time is running out. Sooner than you know.
Well, exactly. So this sums up the whole problem with this whole debate, is that people don't listen to anybody. No one listens to either
Charles,
party.
please speak directly into the phone.
I am speaking directly into my phone.
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Yeah, so I think that the problem is the arrogance on both sides of the argument. This it's become completely binary. You're either completely Remainer, completely Brexit. There's a fierce fight on either side, and it's not like that.
Well, this is hardly news, Sir Charles. This is like a call from 3 years ago.
Well, no, it isn't, because the problem is people are trying to put through the vote of the people. They are trying to act on the decision, and you have a parliament full of MPs who will, in Boris Johnson's word, do or die to thwart Brexit.
Yes.
And it's
you could put it like that, or you could put it a do or die in order not to make a catastrophe out of the circumstances that we find ourselves in.
Let's be clear, right? A catastrophe is an incredibly large word to use for such a situation. Now,
well, no, not really. I mean, if somebody came to your house, Charles, and took 20% of your money, would you say that was a minor blip or a catastrophe?
No, you're interrupting me.
Yeah, that's right. It's my blooming show. Catastrophe. If somebody came to my house and took 20% of my money, I'd call that a catastrophe. How about you, Charles?
Okay, well, how about this? If I was deciding I was going to move house because I decided to live somewhere else, and I looked at the situation and said, I'm going to uproot myself from here and my family, and I'm going to move to there. And I'm doing it is because I see a long-term benefit. I see kids in greater schools in my new area. I see my wife in a new...
Right, well, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, if you let me talk, maybe it will.
Oh, for crying out loud, Charles.
Well, no, but all you're doing is interrupting.
Make your point more quickly.
The reason I called
and less pompously
was because you have just been overriding any call. Tracy made some very good points, and you just belittled her and insulted her.
What points? What points was she making?
Okay. So if I was going to move, forget that.
Forget that. Moving. It's got nothing to do with moving house.
Yes, it has.
No, it does not.
Listen. You're not listening, so you don't know.
I do. You just said that it's like moving house because your children are going to get a better education. It's got nothing to do with that.
Well, you haven't let me finish the point.
Oh, for crying out loud. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Okay. So you're going to move house because you perceive long-term advantages. Are you going to not do that because there's going to be some short-term problems? Oh, it's going to be difficult to change our bills. It's going to be difficult to do this. Yes, there's going to be difficulties. It doesn't mean you don't take great decisions to change things because there are going to be some short-term difficulties. You work through them. You deal with it. You move because in 10 years' time, 15 years' time, you're going to be in a better place.
So, but what leads you, that was your 30 seconds. What leads you to believe we're going to be in a better place?
Absolutely, 100% a better place. The EU is a terrible organisation. It's failing miserably. What we should have done is never left. We should have let it fall apart itself and then walked away from it as part of it. It's a terrible situation.
Yeah, but what makes you say that other than just a blithe assertion that you're right?
The EU is the most ridiculously undemocratic institution.
Oh, that's absolutely ridiculous. How can you sit there and say that? We have an unelected Prime Minister who answers to an unelected head of state and is overseen by an unelected upper house.
I'm not being funny, right?
No, you aren't. You're being ridiculous. And did I mention pompous? Wigan. Hello, Tony.
Hello, Nick. Thanks very much. First time caller.
Tony.
Is it possible for me to say to the guy who was saying how wonderful Germany is?
Yeah.
Why he's not still there?
Oh, really? Is that where we're at? Why don't you go? If you don't like it, why don't you leave the country?
No, I don't mean that at all. He just didn't seem very happy that everything else is so wonderful everywhere else. And the richest man in the world is the man with a family. So you don't need all that millions. I don't know where he's getting all that from.
The richest man in the world is the one with a family.
Is a man with a family. Have you got a family, Nick?
Everyone's got a family, Tony.
Yeah. Well, have you got kids?
No.
No. Well, you've got nieces and nephews, haven't you?
Yeah.
So,
and that makes you rich.
In the world. It makes you the richest man in the world.
It doesn't, Tony. Not even close.
It kind of does.
No, it really doesn't, Tony. But never mind.
Oh, come on!
Because you've got family, you're rich.
The richest man in the world.
No,
man with a family.
That's delusional talk.
Do you think?
I don't think I know. What are you on about? Because you've got family, that makes you rich. Now, I know that you don't mean rich as far as money is concerned, but it doesn't. Rich in any of the definitions of that word makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Right. Okay. Maybe I should have gone.
I think that's anyway, clutching at straws, Tony.
Okay.
Trying to make the best of a bad job.
Right. Okay. No, the reason I was actually calling this anyway was. I can't understand why every time I hear anyone talking about Leave and Remain, the only people I really hear calling people idiots, which is obviously believers, it just doesn't seem to me, it's not, they're supposed to be the clever ones, they're supposed to be the nice ones.
Believers?
The Remain ones, and no, the Remainers are supposed to be the clever ones, the nice ones, the refined ones, and you don't really hear anything nice come out of the mouths, do you? You don't hear that many leavers calling everyone else idiots and half the country or a third of the country idiots.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, but
you only don't hear it, Tony, because you agree with them. It's like people who call me up all the time saying, "Oh, you're so biased. You should be like that Nigel Farage. He's not biased at all." It's because they agree with everything he says. The concept of bias means to a lot of people whether they disagree with it or not. They'll listen to Nigel Farage. They could listen to him 24 hours a day, and they think, "Oh, that man, he's so balanced. He never says a single thing I disagree with." That's not the definition of balance. It's the opposite of that. But we've come to the point now. I think this country has been turned upside down and shaken like a snow globe. If you put your ear to this country, this is what you'd hear. Yeah, a little bit. Chesterfield. Hello, Paul.
Hiya, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. Just listening to the conversation, I'm going to get to the point in a bit, but
in a bit.
The trade agreement with America is, as you know as well as I do, it's on WTO terms.
No.
We trade with America on WTO terms, so the agreement that we would get with America would be a direct agreement. So that was a little bit misleading what you said. Also, by the way, if you want to put it into context, we deal with business terms. It's certainly from my area in Chesterfield, Derbyshire. 85% of our trade, 85% of businesses deal with the EU. Now, that's all right, but those figures are skewed.
What do you mean?
Because out of those businesses, that's 85% of the businesses that deal directly with the EU.
They're what, sorry?
Now, if you want to put it into perfect context, that only works out to 15% of the overall businesses in Derbyshire.
You just said 85% of...
85% of...
What?
85% of 15% of businesses.
85% of 15%? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, so our MP said 85% of our direct trade with the EU. That's all very well, but only 15% of our businesses deal with the EU.
Right.
So it's a lot of skewed figures. Now, what I actually called up for is...
if that was an explanation, I'm lost. But anyway, carry on.
Yeah, I was actually calling... My main point to call up with... I called up to make sure that your glasses were working okay, because...
My glasses?
You said that because you said that the Finch clenching angry mob
Yeah.
is the Brexiteers.
Well, I didn't use the word mob, but go on.
What? No, but you said the fist clenchers were Brexiteers.
The people that call me,
Now,
who are
Sorry?
the people that call me up, seem to be the Brexiteers. Yes, that's my experience. Paul.
No, Nick. What you said was the fist clenchers are the Brexiteers. They were your words. Okay.
Well, the
Now,
fist clenched fury mongers. I was just describing a type of person. What I said was that the people that, in my experience, the people that call me that are the angriest are the leavers. The Remainers tend not to be so furious.
Have you not seen the riots, the protests? I could have kept it riots. Have you not seen the protests across the country today? Have
Riots? Where was there a riot?
Today?
Where was there a riot?
No, it's Finch clenching.
Where was there a riot, Paul?
It's the
Tell me the location of the riot.
I corrected myself.
No, you didn't.
The fist clenching mobs were the Remain protests.
Where? Where was there a fist clenched mob?
Nick, all across the country.
All really? Well, the papers have
today.
failed to report that then, Paul. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Even the Daily Mail didn't report that. Let's have Hackney. Hello, James.
Yes. When you said James, I was getting so excited.
What?
You right, mate?
What?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, James.
Basically, I told them that I think I can convince you to join, to see the benefits, the pros of leaving the EU.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you ready?
Best of luck.
All right, cool. Drum roll, please.
It's going very well so far, James.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying.
You certainly are.
Well, firstly, let's just talk about the membership fee. I mean, in 2016 we paid a 13.
Oh, for crying out loud! It's not just. It doesn't just go one way for a start, and to get the benefits of being in a club, you usually have to pay some sort of fee, and it's not a fee that has no reward.
Right, and I didn't dispute that, but what I'm saying is such an obscene amount. We can put that elsewhere. Surely you can understand.
Well, let me see if you can understand this. If you give me £10 and I put that £10 to work and give you back £100, is that a good deal or not? Remembering that you've given me £10. Now, would you concentrate on the £10 that you've given me or the £100 that you got back?
Well, yeah, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to get you to understand is...
No, it is the point.
Stop laughing.
That is the point on that issue. What else have you got?
Mate, why are you laughing? Hey, I'm going to get you. Watch, listen. All right, cool. Second point. I'll get you in the second point. Ready, yeah? All right. The second point, which is very important, is our sovereignty. I mean, why are we letting people in Brussels make decisions for us? Let's just keep it real here. They shouldn't be. Most of them haven't even done like a proper job in their lives, right?
Well, as opposed to our MPs that have.
And you know how centralised Europe is becoming now with their new leader, their new EU leader. I mean, it's only a matter of time.
No decision that gets made in the European Parliament gets made by an unelected leader. They're all elected by the people of the various countries, and whatever part of the European Union you're talking about, they're either directly elected by the people, or they're put there by the people that were directly elected by the people. It's more democratic than we are. Remember, our leader has now, for I think the third time out of the last 4, been presented to us without us actually electing them. And he, our unelected leader, answers to an unelected head of state and is overseen by an unelected upper house. Which part of that sounds democratic to you?
Well, I'll tell you what's democratic. 52-48, where everyone's talking about a second referendum. But
my God. Okay, if you're actually talking about the will of the people, James, at almost no point since that referendum has that referendum result been repeated. Poll after poll after poll. Cool. I think about 100 polls have been taken since then, and in about 3 cases has the original referendum result been repeated. In all other cases, it's been turned on its head. So if we're actually talking about the will of the people, then we should be staying.
what we should actually be doing, right, is leaving. I'm sorry, breaking the news to you, but last time I checked, we voted to leave in 2016.
We? Who's we? Who is we? A third of the population said yes, a third of the population said no, and a third of the population said...
The people, la gente.
The people. Okay, the people made a decision based on lies, misinformation, stories that people have made up, some fantastical hopes and dreams about a future that will never arrive, and a vast amount of dodgy money, the genesis of which we still have got no idea. We don't know where the money's come from. Not a clue.
What I will tell you is that why do you have to smear us and say that we were lied to and we don't know what we were talking about? Or all this fear-mongering stuff. It's like, come on, man. Why can't you just understand that there's actual benefits? Sure, no one said it's going to be like a rainbow land.
And are you kidding? That's exactly what they said.
No,
they said we were all going to have more money for a start. There was going to be more money for the NHS. We were going to be able to secure our borders, which is not true because more people come here from outside the EU than from inside the EU. So that's a lie for a start. They lied about the NHS. Everything that we were told beforehand was a lie.
Mate, could you just... I need you to understand that.
You just want me to believe, don't you?
No, I don't want you to... I don't want you to just believe. I want you to actually look at the point, like, rationally and actually check
No, I have looked at them rationally, James. I've been doing this for the last 3 years, looking at them rationally, and you can pick them apart with just a modicum of thought. But there's no point in discussing this because people that have decided one way based on some fantasy about returning to the good old days that also never existed, to make just like Donald Trump in America, make Britain great again, as though we ceased to be great at some point in the past. Probably around the time that your knees started to creak and you gave up on ever having sex again. Make Britain great again, which actually is code for make Britain white again. Leinster in Herefordshire. Connor.
Hello?
Connor.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, Connor.
I was just calling in because I was very frustrated listening to you talking about Brexiteers and how we're all angry and single issue and
well, the single issue angry ones are.
Well, fair enough on that point, but I almost want to call in to make a point about how vast majority of people I speak to are interested in Brexit. To be honest, I think they want it over as much as most Remainers I think want it stopped, because it is getting in the way of important issues in many ways. It's been going on for 3 years, and really it shouldn't have gone on. I mean, it shouldn't have really gone on for the full 2 of Article 50 at all. It should have been something that we could have amicably solved, but we didn't go that route.
Well, it's very complicated. That's the problem, isn't it? I mean, it's not like we were told it's going to be the easiest deal that anybody ever did in history. This, in fact, is the easy part. The difficult bit will be the trade deal that comes next. This is the easy bit.
And I think the simple fact is that, for instance, the Irish backstop, I think and the trade deal and stuff like that, those are going to be issues after Brexit. Because I think maybe I'm hopeful here, but I think Brexit is going to happen and we are going to leave on the 31st.
I reckon we will too.
Whether or not it's the ideal situation of leaving with no deal is a different question, because it seems like that's what's going to happen. Because I don't think the EU is going to move.
Well, I don't think that Boris Johnson wants the EU to move. I think he's asked them for the impossible. Because he wants to leave with no deal.
I mean, I think it'd be impossible for him to ask for anything else if he wanted to possibly win an election afterwards, because Theresa May made the mistake of trying to compromise, and that put the Conservatives down to 7% in the Euro elections.
Well, I think that people are against the Northern Irish backstop because they have been led to believe that it's a trap and the EU want to make us their slaves, because that's the language that people talk about it in, and it sort of feeds into the angry single issue people that we were talking about just moments ago.
I think it's a bit of a dangerous deal to sign, because it's incredibly reliant on a lot of goodwill, and I'm not sure I'm seeing the goodwill at the moment. I mean,
Yeah, but you can't possibly think that the European Union would want to enslave us and trap us. I mean, that's just it's just
I don't
silly.
think I'd use such extreme words, no.
But that's what people. Those are the words that people are using.
I know, but that's politicians' words. Politicians do this nowadays often.
Yes, but the people take their cue from their favourite politicians. They just repeat what they heard Nigel Farage say.
I know, but this happens on both sides. It's like when people calling what Boris Johnson's doing a coup. It's inflammatory rhetoric. It's getting people riled up.
Well, I don't know. Much of it does look a bit like a coup. He's threatened to fire MPs who vote against an unelected leader. Don't you find that astonishing?
No, I don't find it astonishing that you deselect. To be honest, I'm amazed so many MPs haven't been deselected over the past 3 years.
But that doesn't sound like democracy to me. That sounds like a dictatorship. I mean, if the people elect their MPs to represent them, then how is it that an MP doesn't represent them anymore? They only represent what their boss says. That's not representing the people. That's representing whoever happens to have been, whichever unelected leader happens to be running the country at the minute.
I think the way I'd look at it is that what Boris Johnson is saying is that you're not going to have the backing of the Conservative Party. And when voters vote for an MP, they're voting a lot of the time for the manifesto that comes with that MP. And I think that's the problem here as well.
Well, the big problem is that we haven't had the chance to vote for our Prime Minister. What is his manifesto?
I'd agree. I think Theresa May made this mistake as well. I think you can't wait long if you're not someone who's won an election. You need to win an election. And then I think this is why Boris actually is very lucky to have gotten to be leader when he is, because people who support the Conservatives, and I count myself among them, are going to be happy to wait until after Brexit. And I'm in two minds about everything. I think that, personally, I think that with the Irish backstop, for instance, I think we're just going to have to trust the Irish. And, I mean, I have no issue with that. I mean, I'm part Irish myself, but the simple fact of the matter is there are simple outcomes to what the government's doing and what's going on with Brexit, but they aren't as simple as, oh, well, we'll be fine. People could easily get in through Ireland, you know?
Well, of course, yeah. And people seem to forget that it's us on leaving that are insisting that there is some sort of border checks. I mean, that's the nature of a trading bloc, is that there is a difference between inside and outside.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I see the benefits of being outside far greater than being inside this particular bloc. And I mean, we could debate the merits of my thoughts on that for hours, but I think that when it comes to that, people just need to accept that, on both sides in many ways, that the issue afterwards is going to be, I think that the issue is going to be a case of the people who were for Brexit because of immigration mostly, as their main issue, are going to have a massive issue with the fact that we're now relying on Ireland to do our border checks.
Well, no, they're going to have a massive issue with the fact that the same number of people are going to be coming in. I mean, even Boris Johnson has refused to contemplate fewer immigrants, because we will need the same number of immigrants coming in to do the jobs that we don't want to do, because we have full employment. There's no getting around it. If there was a vast pool of unemployed people in this country, then you could make an argument that we need fewer people to do those jobs. But because there isn't, because we've got full employment, there's absolutely no getting around it. We need the number of people that are coming in to do those jobs.
Well, I think that my approach to it would be that basically I don't think there'll be the same amount of people, or the same kind of people. I think there'd be far less people coming in from Europe, most likely, and far more people coming in from outside.
Yeah, Africa. And if your average
Asia,
leaver voted to replace white Europeans with black Africans, I'm a Knickerbocker glory.
Well, I have no issue with people coming in from wherever they are, as long as they're qualified.
Well, qualified, but most of the people that come here have no qualifications other than they want to do work that we don't want to do. And that you personally, Connor, see no difference. You don't see colour. Well, that congratulations. But I very much doubt that that's the case with most of the people that voted out.
I mean, perhaps, but I'd like to think that after Brexit, it won't be a case of our immigration policy isn't going to be decided by just those who voted Brexit, by everybody in the country. I think that, to be honest, an election after Brexit, the first one might not be the most unifying, but I think the second one might be, because then we'll actually be past a lot of these issues in some ways, and we'll have a less.
No, I think it's going to. I think it's going to get worse, because the people that voted out are expecting a better life, and when that does not come in any short time period, then what? I mean, if they're angry now, just wait.
Oh, I think everybody's angry now, and for different reasons. I think the chances are what will happen is.
Well, you started this in conversation by telling me that you aren't angry.
I aren't. I'm not angry, no.
You took great exception to me saying that people are angry.
Oh, no, I take exception to the fact that Brexiteers are being cast as just purely angry.
Well, that seems to be the case.
I think Remainers are also very angry because they feel, as you said, that a coup's going on, that they aren't being listened to.
Yeah, but they don't express themselves in clenched fist, furious terms like Brexiteers tend to.
I don't think the furiousness of people's words it can be easily measured against each other, because different people have different triggers, and that's why.
Well, I know, but me doing this job, I tend to talk to a rainbow coalition of people that I wouldn't. The ordinary people doing, going about their daily business. People tend to talk to people that they have selected to talk to. Let's have a call in Nairn. Nigel.
Yes. I would like to say that I support Boris Johnson. I also support Donald Trump, and I want to see United Kingdom work together to succeed. I worked in Europe. I remember working for Anton Robo in Munich, and when they had broadside, which is what we call tea break, but they don't have tea, they have beer instead and black bread and stuff. I was asked this question: why you come to Germany to work? So I said, well, nice place, nice people, interesting kind of place, interested to hear something new. And guess what the reply was? So, who has won the war? Well, I wondered what to reply, so I thought I need to keep the job because I was sleeping rough in the English garden, etc. And I had a friend who worked with me who was black, from Nigeria. He said, Niger, the German don't give me the job because I'm a black. I said, we'll go and we'll pray to the Lord in the church. We'll go out and we'll find a job, which we did.
Okay, all right. I think I've heard enough. Just keep on keeping on, Nigel, just not on this show. What on earth was that about? Let's have Cannock. Mel.
Hi, Nick.
Mel.
Been a long time.
I know, haven't I been lucky?
Yeah. Couple of things I was going to say. Another referendum would mean the Leavers would have to win twice, and Remainers would only have to win once. Yeah, that sounds democratic.
Well, the first time around, nobody had any idea what they were voting for. Don't tell me that you did, because you just flat out didn't.
I know exactly what I was voting for, because I was around before we was in the EU.
Yeah, but did you expect this?
No, I didn't.
Right,
know.
okay, so you didn't know what you were voting for.
No.
So now we do know what we're voting for, as opposed to just whatever is in box A. Taking the assurances of various oily used car salesmen that what is in box A is huge and tremendous and great, and it's just absolutely stuffed with sunshine and money. And we opened it up and we thought, oh no, it isn't. We thought when we saw it was in box A. So it was just a bunch of lies and stories they made up. Now we know what's in box A, then we can come to an informed conclusion.
Well, that's obviously, I suppose there could be a lot of very stupid people in the country. But
why do people like you always go to that? I mean, the massive chip on your shoulder is just extraordinary. But and every time it's the same. Oh, but I'm not stupid. No one's calling you stupid.
No,
just because you didn't know what was in a closed box, that doesn't mean to say you're stupid. Uninformed is not the same as being stupid.
No, I voted to leave because I wanted to stop free movement of people.
Well, then you're fresh out of luck, Mel. See, it's exactly as I said. You were misinformed.
Yeah,
now you are informed. Now you can change your mind if we ever get to vote again. Well, yeah, but if you're voting to leave to stop the free movement of people, then it's not going to happen.
No, but I can have my say, can't I? That's what democracy is about, isn't it? Having your say.
But you said that you're voting to stop the free movement of people. That's not going to happen with that vote. Any more than you can say, well, I'm voting for us all to have the ability to fly. That's why I'm voting out. That ain't going to happen either.
Well, no, let me speak. I was going to say it's always down to opinion. Your opinion is different than mine. But as for Boris Johnson, they're trying to get him to resign, obviously, because they can't beat him in an election. But that's my thoughts on it. So I'm not really keen on the bloke.
That's not true. That's not why they are refusing.
Well, why would they? Once that's made law that he can't leave without a deal.
Yeah.
Why would they then drag it on till the 31st?
But that's what they're saying. That once it is law, then game on.
Yeah, but he's already said they're going to keep it. They're not going to let him have an election until after the 31st of August.
Right, in case he tries to finagle his way out of it.
How can he do that if it's in law?
Oh, well, he's already said that he pretty much said that he's going to break the law because he's refused to actually ask for an extension, even if there is a law saying that he has to.
I think he'll resign.
Well, I don't.
We'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I guess so.
As for the food shortages.
Well, let me go back to this. You voted out to have fewer people coming over here. But now you know that is not Boris Johnson's plan. He's already said that he's not going to restrict the number for people that are coming here. Now you know that that's not going to happen. You'd still vote for that anyway, even knowing that you.
Yeah, I'd vote on a matter of principle.
A matter of
principle. But
that makes no sense, Mel.
It might not make any sense to you, but I certainly ain't going to vote Remain.
But you're voting out in order to stop the free movement of people. And now you know that that's not going to happen. You'd still vote out, hoping for this. I don't get it. That makes no sense.
I was hoping that they would actually take some notice. But obviously we haven't left yet, so I don't know if they're going to take any notice.
Well, they won't.
Not until after we've left.
I'm telling you they won't.
That's if we ever leave. But
plus, also, of course, there's more people coming here from outside the EU than from inside the EU, over which we have complete control.
That is a bit of a worry for future generations, but not for me. But before that has any real effect, I'll be long gone. But like I said, as for food shortages and medical supply shortages, I did wonder why, before we joined the EU, why I was stepping over all these dead bodies in the hospitals and the schools and in the streets. That would explain that now. I'm being sarcastic.
Well, or stupid. One of the two.
Why didn't we have a shortage then?
Oh, for crying out loud, because it was different then, Mel.
What was different?
Because we weren't inside the EU. We didn't have all of these supply chains. Companies hadn't grown up dependent on the trade with the European Union. God, you really need me to explain this. Oy, painful. Here's a call in Hampton. Hello, Matthew. Is there anybody out there? Too late. Blackburn. Scott. No, it's all going very well so far. One moment, please. There it is.
Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
Yes, Scott.
That list of positive things that you read off, I agree with them a lot of times. I think it's tragic that we're possibly going to lose them. But my question to you is...
Lose what?
That list of things that you listed, the things we agree with Europe on, that we might lose.
Yes.
Because of the... But my question to you is losing those worth defending the immigration policies of the last 20 years or so? I mean, would you be willing to... you call people like us, my side, far right, that agree with Trump.
Yeah.
But we don't agree on all this stuff. I like a lot of the stuff that you listed, but one of my main reasons for voting Brexit is because I'm sick of not being heard on the immigration status.
Right. So
certain towns and cities.
So what do you think? What do you think is going to happen after we leave the EU?
Exactly. No, I'm saying I'm realistic. I don't think very much.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm saying, but my point is, it was sort of a finger in the eye to, like, this is what you get for completely ignoring certain parts of the country. Towns and cities have been completely left to bear the full brunt of immigration from third world countries, while certain towns and cities have been completely untouched and preserved. Their British character has been preserved.
Well, name a place.
What you mean? Birmingham, Bradford, Blackburn.
No. The places that have been preserved.
Oh, well, I don't mean 100%, but they've been more so. Their character's been more protected because
well, not
certain
protected.
people got money.
Yeah, not protected. What you mean is that people that have come here don't want to move there because there's no jobs.
I don't think it's just a case of that. I think certain parts of the country have got people, like where the racehorseing takes place and stuff like that, where you see all the muckety-mucks, they've got influence and they can protect because it's all flower places, where the sorts of places where the Queen visits, where they have the flower shows and the horse racing.
Right, the Queen.
Well, no, I'm giving an example.
Yeah, I get it, but there's no jobs for immigrants to do there. Why would they go there? Well, Ascot, places like that? They couldn't afford to live there for a start.
See, we don't we agree on more than we disagree. I think places like I mentioned have been the industry has been gutted, and to make up for the finances, they've flooded it with.
Yeah, but the one thing
poor
that
people
I
from the
don't
third
think
world.
that industries have been gutted by an influx of immigrants.
I didn't say they had. I
thought that's exactly what you just said.
No, I said politicians have made decisions that have gutted industry from certain parts, and to make up the loss in revenue, they've flooded them with poor people from the third world who
that makes it. They flooded them, as though we went to the third world and invited them to come. So, Scott, more people come from outside of the EU than from inside of the EU. If you're looking for fewer people to come to this country from abroad, then I'm afraid you've picked the wrong cause.
It's a question of families and how many children they have. I agree with what you just said.
Well, unfortunately, Scott, we need people to have more children in this country because our own the indigents aren't doing so. And we have an ageing population who will become increasingly uneconomically active and also will need care. So who's going to do all that if we aren't having the babies?
That's because we don't celebrate the nuclear family anymore, and welfare is gutted, it's demonised the family.
We don't celebrate the nuclear family anymore. In which parallel universe are you talking about? It's all about families.
No, it's not. We incentivise single mothers with welfare, and we don't.
For crying out loud, Scott! You can't possibly think that people that a woman makes a decision in life to have a baby without a man around to help her take care of it, just because she'll get an extra $5 on her welfare.
I didn't say they do it to get the welfare. I said the system rewards that behaviour.
Well, yes, but if it rewards it, then you're saying that people are making a conscious decision in order to avail themselves of that extra money.
I'm saying they've gone too far in the other direction, because to make a woman less dependent on a man, they've gone way further in the opposite direction. So you don't need them at all anymore. So I do think
you do need them for something.
Yeah. But I worry about the stuff we're going to lose. I like a lot of the stuff that you read off, and I don't want to become more Americanized. But you're just not listening with the immigration thing. Your side. I'm saying, are you willing to lose all that stuff?
No, I don't want to lose all that stuff.
No,
because that's what makes us British. Policy. That's what makes us British, Scott. Not just agreeing with everything that the demented orange nightmare in the White House says.
You're obsessed with Trump. It's more than him. It's the system. He's just an individual. He's not as powerful as you think he is.
Yeah, but the most powerful man in the world isn't as powerful as I think he is.
It is the president.
The man who could start World War III just because he got up in the morning in a huff, and who is currently engaged in trade wars with almost as many countries as there are continents.
The world isn't run by the American president, the British Prime Minister anymore. It's run by corporations and banks. They're the ones with the real power.
Yeah, men who live in, who meet in hollowed out volcanoes. Yeah, I read about that. I'm pretty sure that I read about that on the internet.
What do I know about it? All I know is what's on the internet.
Oh, there's just constant whining and with this grievance that people have. My life didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to, and you know what? It's their fault. There's some identifiable minority over there. Or it's single mothers' fault, or it's people who are on benefits, it's their fault over there, or it's the people who are in the big cities, it's a Londoner's fault. Merseyside. Tracy.
Hi, Nick.
Tracy.
Evening. Hi. All I'd like to say, Nick, is, you know what, I'm getting quite fed up of everybody blaming everyone for the mess we're in. We are only in this mess because of the politicians, because we went to the referendum, we said what we wanted to say. We were hoping to come out with a deal, but we knew full well if we didn't get a deal, we were leaving Brexit.
That's not true, because we were told over and over again beforehand that we were going to have a deal. There was 1,000,000 to 1 chance against not getting a deal. That's what Boris Johnson said. 1,000,000 to 1.
Well, my perspective is we also knew that if we weren't going to get a deal, we were going to leave without a deal.
No, no. This is rewriting history, Tracy. Nobody thought of that beforehand. I mean, it didn't even cross anybody's minds. Just like the border in Ireland didn't cross anybody's minds either.
So how can educated people, Nick, not think that if the EU aren't going to give us a good deal, well, it doesn't matter anyway because we won't leave? How can educated people think that we're going to get this fabulous deal, but at the end of the day, if the EU know that we're not going to take this deal, we're going to stay anyway?
How can educated people think that? Well, who's thinking that?
Because if you go into any negotiation, whether it be buying a car or buying a house or anything like that, if that person knows that no matter what, you're going to get, say, that house for X amount of money, they're not going to budge on the price. So, to me, I think that once they've turned around and said that we can't have a deal or we're not getting what we wanted to, David Cameron, before all this EU referendum came about, he went over and tried to negotiate better terms for us, and they knocked him down and said no. And this is where the referendum came from. How can you go?
Well, that's not entirely true. The referendum came from David Cameron trying to shore up support for himself and to shut the Eurosceptics up on the back benches of his own party.
How many times did you go over to the EU and try to ask for the negotiation or better terms for us or anything like that? Everyone knew. Every time we went over, we all knew they're not going to give him it. They're just not going to give him it.
They gave Theresa May a perfectly reasonable deal, which I wouldn't bet against being represented to the House. I mean, maybe that's what Boris Johnson's going to do next week. Have you ever seen? He'll photocopy it and draw some flowers in the margin and say, "Have you ever seen this before?"
All I know is we went and we voted to leave. And I'll be honest with you, Nick, I was actually a Remainer because I've got teenagers, adult teenagers. But I think the way that Parliament has behaved and the way that they hackle and everything, the absolute manners are absolutely disgusting.
The manners?
I think it's an absolute. You've got no manners at all. Absolutely not.
Whose manners are you criticising? Jacob Rees-Mogg for being recumbent?
No, I'm criticising everybody's. As soon as Boris Johnson was trying to talk, everyone's heckling him, shouting.
Oh, well, that's just Prime Minister's questions. It's just a game. That's not real life. It's just it's
more than that.
Just knockabout.
But at the end of the day, we're in this mess because Parliament don't want us to leave.
Well, we're in this mess because the people that we voted in to take our best interests at heart know that it's not in our best interests to crash the economy just so that a few billionaire financiers who are betting against the pound can make hundreds of millions of quid the very next day, just like they did after the referendum.
He came out this week and said, we got it wrong. It doesn't think it's going to be quite as bad as he thought it was going to be. And that is the head of the Bank of England. So who do you think and who do you trust? Who do you believe? Where is the prize?
It's not going to be as bad as he thought it was going to be if we get a deal. But people say that he thought it was going to be so bad that it would amount to us, this entire country, flipping upside down, bursting into flames and sinking. Oh, well, it's like It's like Dr. Strangelove. There's only going to be, 20, 30 million dead tops.
Right, well, we don't know that because the chances are we're not going to leave now, and the whole of...
Oh, I bet we do.
Can I just ask you one more thing, Nick?
Yes, what's the query?
If this was the Scottish referendum, and 48% decided that they wanted to stay, and 52% decided that they wanted to leave, do you think Nicola Sturgeon would have this headache? No, it would be a done deal. It wouldn't go back to the people. No questions would be asked. It would be finished and done. That's it.
Well, you know what Nigel Farage said, that if it was going to be 48 to 52, the result of the referendum, he said...
We should have a second referendum.
He said it was going to be unfinished business. But, of course, that was when he thought he was going to lose by that amount. But because he won by that amount, suddenly, please disregard everything I've ever said on this issue. But first, here's a call in Hemel Hempstead. Hello, Charles.
Hello, yeah. I would just like to ask a question, actually, on Brexit. I know.
People send me homework all the time. It's the weekend.
I know. But all I wanted to know was, because nobody has given me a straight answer, and I'm hoping that you can give me a straight answer. The 33 or 39 billion that Theresa May signed us into.
Theresa who?
Theresa May. What's her name? Not Theresa May.
We're still not missing you, Theresa.
Anyway, do we have to give Europe that? If we leave on a no-deal basis, are we still tied into that deal? Yes. So we still have to give them that money?
Yes.
Then that's an act of willful misconduct, then.
It's
because basically, how do you hand over a load of money that you didn't need to hand over and then not get what you want?
But we do need to hand it over because we've already agreed to hand that money over. It's a budget that we agreed to, Charles.
Yep, I agree with you, but we didn't need to agree to give them it if we left.
That's not true. That's like sitting down at a restaurant, eating a meal and saying that we don't really need to pay the bill. We having eaten already.
Yep, but we're not going to carry on eating, are we? So why are we giving them it?
Because we've just had our food.
We haven't, though. They've had more out of us than we've ever had out of them.
We've had okay. Can you defend that assertion?
Yeah. Okay.
We've had more from
them than they've ever had from us.
No, that's the other way around.
No, hold up.
Don't you mean it the other way around, that they've had more from us than we've had? Yeah, okay.
That's what I mean.
Right, go ahead. What are the figures?
Go on.
Defend that assertion. They've had more from us than we've had from them.
Yep, look at Greece.
Look at Greece?
Yep.
What's that got to do with us?
What have they had out of us? Yeah, okay.
Immediately you change the subject, Charles. Never mind about Greece. What about the amount that we've had from them that compared with the amount that they gave to us?
You've only got to look
as though it's a linear equation. What?
You've only got to look at my cars and your car.
My cars and your car?
Yeah, what is your car? What's your car? What is your car?
Does this have anything to do with what we were talking about?
It does.
Go on.
Of course it does. Mine's an Audi. My daughter's
Oh, well, that tells me everything I need to know about you, Charles. So it drives an Audi. Take cover, everybody. Clear the pavements. Every time I see an Audi in my rearview mirror, I grip my steering wheel more firmly because I know something berserk is about to happen. Portsmouth. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Nick. Just felt compelled to ring, basically, to answer a few questions, but primarily that one you just asked. I'm a Brexiteer. I have my own company, run it over Belgium, Holland, the UK, South America, and the Far East. And here's one for you. The alcohol tax, we can't change that. So we've got a huge problem with alcoholics, leading to strain on the NHS, etc., as we do with tobacco. We've rose the price of tobacco and the duty on that, and the number of smokers is going down. If we want to rise the duty on cheap alcohol that's sold at supermarkets, etc., we can't.
Of course we can.
Because you say no, we can't. We can't.
Of course we can.
You can't rise. You can't put a levy on wine, for example. We couldn't just put another 20% on a bottle of wine.
Well, why does...
Because that's EU legislation.
No, well, why do our Chancellor of the day, how does he raise the price of booze then? Every time
Because
there's a budget.
Because it's within his sort of flexibility.
Right,
that's
so
all.
we
he
can.
He couldn't go over the top. No, but you couldn't put it up to an extent that. It would
Neither
stop
would the
homeless
people want
getting
that,
boxed.
Michael.
Well, you don't want less homeless people drinking cheap cider.
It wouldn't make the slightest bit of difference unless you
It
raise
wouldn't?
unless you raise the price of alcohol to an unsustainable level.
Like we've done with cigarettes, and the number of smokers is at a record low. Wouldn't work.
Yeah, but the cigarettes and booze is two completely different things.
They're both two huge factors that put strain on the NHS.
Well, regardless of that, no politician, no political party is going to back raising the price of alcohol to the extent that people wouldn't be able to afford it anymore because no one would vote for them.
Okay, but it's an example of something we could change.
Well, but we won't though.
No, okay, that's fine. But okay, let's agree to disagree on that one.
Well,
point,
let's agree that I'm right.
in what? In what? That a politician wouldn't do that?
Yes. No politician would do that.
How do you know that?
Well, have they done it already?
Of course they would.
Have they done it already? No, they haven't.
Doesn't mean it's not right.
I'm not saying that it's
because it hasn't.
Oh, God.
Just because it hasn't been done.
Who said it's right or not? I'm talking about the politicians' electability. If a politician said that they were going to raise the price of alcohol to the extent that people wouldn't be able to afford it anymore, no one will vote for them.
Sorry,
no one will vote for them. Anyway, what else have you got, Michael? God.
Okay, what else have I got? Let's just go with democracy. We had the vote. It's not been accepted by Remainers and MPs on the basis that it was, lies, fabricated on lies, etc.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Here's a lie. How about the Chancellor of the Exchequer saying that the moment we vote that we'd go into a recession? Never happened.
Well, I don't think anybody said that the moment we would vote. People rewrite history and say, well, politicians were saying that if we vote out, then the country will flip upside down and burst into flames. And look, nothing happened. They'll say, it's just painful. Nobody said that.
It's true. It's factual. Yeah, George Osborne did. You can check it on YouTube, Nick. But I wouldn't fabricate it. I watched it the other day. But not only that. What about
what other things that George Osborne has ever said do you stand by? Nothing.
No, but I'm just proving that there are lies from both ends.
Yeah, but no one is disputing that. No one's disputing that there were lies on both ends.
So why don't you accept the result then?
Because there were lies on both ends.
Right, like there are every general election and anything else we vote on, aren't there? Jeremy Corbyn's manifesto for the last general election was that they were going to back the referendum. They haven't.
Painful.
So was that another lie? It is painful because it's truthful. The truth does hurt. But,
the truth about lies hurts.
The manifesto. How do you explain that to me?
So this is more of that what about stuff. It's excruciating. Honestly, I can't bear it anymore. Oh well, we got to accept the referendum. I know that there were lies, but what about all these other lies? As though that excuses it. People didn't know what they were voting for because they were told that if they voted out, then we were going to be richer, we were going to be happier, there was going to be fewer of us here, and all of that stuff was completely untrue, Michael. As you know.
The lack of food, for example, Nick, that civil service document was based on the fact of our situation right now, that we wouldn't be able to get food immediately from Europe, etc.
No, the people that have said that there's going to be a lack of food are the actual retailers.
I'm not saying that. That's because they haven't got different trade agreements at the moment with other outside the EU. So naturally there'd be a shortage. But if, for example, same with the medicine, the two largest producers of all narcotics and anything to do with pharmaceuticals, is America and India. So everyone's saying we're going to have a medicine shortage, but that's because we haven't currently got a deal with America and India. Once we have, we'll have cheaper medicine.
You think we were going to get cheaper medicine from America? Michael, what you know about the
India,
American...
From India.
India, okay.
From India, then.
Well, why did you mention America?
Because I just mentioned that they're larger than Europe in the supply of pharmaceuticals.
Well,
as is India.
Okay.
So we've got options.
All right. So there's going to be no problems of any kind whatsoever. So I don't really know what people are complaining about. The sunny uplands are just around the corner. God, it's going to be marvellous. Struth. Haddenham. Richard.
Nick, how are you, sir?
I am super. Thanks for asking.
Good. And,
are we on speakerphone?
I am on speakerphone.
Oh, my God. Speakerphone? Oh, no. Get off speakerphone.
Is that not good?
It sounds like you're in the loo.
It's funny you should say that.
Can I put you on hold? Can you get into a more seemly location?
Hang on, just bear with us a second. Don't huff and puff, because you've been huffing and puffing all night. Is that better?
Huffing and puffing? I have not.
Want to score some pot?
There's no huffing or puffing here.
Yeah, you're always huffing and puffing. You're... Anyway. I'm one of these Brexiteers, leavers, if you like.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, I did listen to one of your sort of callers sort of earlier, and you say everybody who phones you up gets angry with you.
No, not everybody, but the ones that get angry do.
Oh, you know, but I guess sort of folks sort of disagree with you, because obviously you never sort of voted to remain. To leave, sorry, so you're a Remainer. And we seem to have this huge, great big sort of divide, don't we?
Yes, but the divide seems to be those who have defined themselves as being right-wing and everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I voted to leave, but I'm not particularly a right-wing person or a left-wing person or anything. I just am. I am what I am. Well,
it sounds like you're going to burst into song for us, Richard.
Would you like me to?
No.
I mean,
Let me be quite clear about that. No, and furthermore...
No.
I hope that is abundantly clear.
No.
We're running out of time.
Sorry, but no, all I was about to say, sorry, sir, because I know you're going to have a whole list of people.
Oh,
here,
yeah.
but,
up to my eyeballs.
Okay, but what I was going to say is, as far as leaving Europe is concerned, and everybody's moaning on about Boris, but do you not think that we are now where we are, love him or hate him, is because of the parliaments over the last sort of 3 years to be able to sort of do nothing, basically, and because of them...
Well, our elected representatives have been doing their duty in trying to in trying to direct the country in a way that they think is best for most of the people. It's just that they've been put in the invidious position of doing something that most of them are convinced is not in the best interests of the people. That's the problem, is that David Cameron asked us the question that he should never have asked us. Referendums are a particularly bad way of trying to figure out something very, very complicated, because people don't read, they don't research, they don't know anything, so that they're empty vessels essentially. Were like prime candidates to have their favourite politician just insert a thought that they just repeat ad nauseum without thinking about it.
Well, I do sort of agree with you on that, but you know, we were given the option, and people have decided to vote on that. and then
Yeah, but that was the problem in the first place. We shouldn't have been. We shouldn't have been asked.
I don't disagree with you.
That's the whole point of a parliamentary democracy. We, the people, assume that we aren't bright enough to make complicated decisions. So we employ we employ people to make those decisions on our behalf. Just like you don't go to the doctor and tell him how to cure your illness. You invest trust in somebody who is more intelligent and more informed than you are to make those decisions on your behalf. It's the same with everything. Your dentist, the car mechanic, the person you buy your stereo off, all of these things. We can't know everything. We're busy. I don't know about you, Richard, but I've gone chock-a-block over here.
But
it sounds like you've run out of petrol. Are you okay?
All I'm saying is,
yes,
we ask these people in Parliament to do their job for us, and it seems to be for past 3 years.
Well, that's because we've given them an impossible job. Their duty is to do the best by the country. That's what they've been trying to do. But we, the people, have given them a virtually impossible task to enact the will of the people, which I believe was bought by underhand means, oily second-hand car salesmen and their financial finagler backers bought the result, and then that we are in this position because our political representatives are trying to make it work to the benefit of the nation, but it can't be done. That's the reason. They're not the problem, they're trying to be the solution. The problem was we were asked a question that we couldn't fathom the correct answer to. We should never have been asked that question. That's the point of a parliamentary democracy. Thanks a lot, David Cameron. We're still not missing you, by the way. But we know where to find you if we do. In the shed where they keep the tools. Let's have, see what this one's like. Seaford. Hello, John.
Hi, good morning, Nick.
Yes, John.
Yeah, I'd just like to bring a little bit of historical fact into the election of Boris Johnson by his
history.
By his 100,000.
Oh, please tell me more.
Boring.
Yes.
Yeah, just thinking back there, let's get the facts straight. In 1940, Sir Winston Churchill came in without being voted. 1955, Anthony Eden was taken, his place was taken by Macmillan. At 63, Alex Douglas-Hume took his without being voted. 76, Mr. Callaghan took over from Harold Wilson.
Are you saying that this is a good thing?
From Margaret.
Are you saying that these are good things
took over from Tony Blair? So, in actual fact, it's quite a historical precedent there.
Yeah, but are you saying it's a good thing?
No, I'm just saying that...
Right, okay, so it's a bad thing.
I'm just saying, whether it's a good thing or not, it's just the fact that we don't actually vote for an individual like a president of France or...
Well, you said no. I know technically we don't, John, but actually people do. I know that when you go into the voting booth, that you actually vote for your local representative. But if I went into the street with a clipboard and asked 100 people who their local MP is, I bet well over half would have got no idea. Because when you go into the booth, you vote for the leader of the party, the most famous person, the person you identify with. So that just doesn't fly. People vote for the leader of the party. They vote for the prime minister, not their local representative. And if they did vote for their local representative, then they're fresh out of luck, aren't they? Because Boris has just taken over. He's threatened to fire your local representative unless they do what Boris says.
Just a thought on chlorinated chicken. Don't we put chlorine into our drinking water?
Wow, that's a really stupid thing to say, John. Are you kidding?
It isn't, because if you check, you'll find that water boards put chlorinated and fluoride into their drinking water.
Well, of course they do, but that's...
So there we are, chlorinated drinking water. We drink it out of the taps all the time. Chlorinated chicken. What's the difference?
Are you really that dumb? I mean...
No, I'm not as dumb as you, Nick.
Well, you are. Do you know what chlorinated chicken is?
It's washed with it. So is our drinking water. It's washed with chlorine.
Okay. What's the difference? Okay, so you are that dumb. Oh, no, I'm not stupid. Yeah, there's no difference. Yeah, you're quite right. Just have a couple of pints of neat chlorine, John, and then call me back. See what happens. I'm just curious. Well, if they put it in water. But don't call me stupid. Here's Conway. Hello, Dave.
Hi, mate. You okay?
Yeah, good,
right,
thanks.
All right, buddy. Right, listen, don't shout me down on this one. Just give me 1 minute, right, and I'll tell you why I'll tell you why Brexit in the long term is going to be good for our country.
Can't wait. Go ahead.
Right. So after Brexit, right, everyone who comes into this country is going to have to go through the immigration system, which means...
Well, they do already, don't they?
No, they don't. Which means that they're going to have to speak English, and to work here, they're going to have to be highly skilled.
Well, that's completely untrue.
No, it's not, because I've been through the immigration system. I know exactly what it's like, because my wife's Filipino, so we're actually right in the middle of it. Right. So
what makes you think that they're going to have to be highly skilled?
Because that's the immigration process. To work in this country as a non-EU person, you have to be highly skilled. You can't just come into this country and say I'm going to be a baker or I'm going to spread tarmac on the roads.
Okay. Well, then I have a question right off the bat, Dave.
Yeah, go on.
If that is going to apply to all people, then where are we going to get the bakers and the people who spread the tarmac on the road?
I'm going to come to that, right?
Ah.
So as unskilled immigration falls, right, this is going to have a long-term beneficial effect, right, on our key services, i.e. schools, housing, and NHS.
How will that be?
But let me tell you this. Right,
well, no, wait a minute. Let's take it point by point. How is it going to have a long-term benefit?
Well, I'm going to tell you because my next point covers it. Because unemployment will fall. Because people will lose their benefits if they refuse to do the job.
But Dave, we don't have a lot of unemployment in this country.
We've got loads of unemployment.
No, we don't.
We've got loads of...
No, we don't. We have full employment.
We don't. You're living
yes,
in London.
Dave, we do. We have full employment. Unemployment is about 4%, there or thereabouts, which is what economists call full employment. You always need a pool of available people for businesses to take from. If we've got 100% employment, then an economy can't go anywhere. You always need some people who are unemployed or underemployed for an economy to grow. We have full employment. We do not have an unemployment problem in this country.
Yeah, but Nick, you're missing my main point. Unskilled immigration will fall, right?
Yeah.
Because the people will have to go through the immigration process.
Right, but so what are we going to do to fill all the unskilled jobs that won't have anybody doing them anymore?
There's people on unemployment benefit which will lose their benefit.
Dave, we've just gone around in a tight circle.
No,
we don't have an unemployment problem in this country.
Nick, we have. You go to any job
Oh my God! No, yeah, of course there are people in job centres. Do I have to explain? Do I have to explain it again? Yes, there are some people that are unemployed, but that is a requisite of a healthy economy. You need some people to be unemployed because otherwise businesses wouldn't be able to employ more people.
We could have full employment.
We do have full employment.
We don't, Nick.
Dave, you misunderstand the phrase full employment. Again, you cannot have 100% of the people employed because that would mean that no business would be able to expand.
Okay, I'll take your point on the full employment. But what I'm trying to say is, everybody once we leave Europe, everybody is going to have to go through the immigration system. Now, the immigration system is very stringent. It's very hard.
Again, we've just gone back to the beginning again. So what are we going to do about all of the jobs that are unskilled that people in this country don't want to do?
This is where we differ. There are a lot of unemployed people in this country who will be forced to do that type of work, or they will lose their benefits.
Okay, well, I've explained it as many times as I can, and I'll just be repeating myself. I've already done so twice, and it still doesn't seem to have, broached your defences, or breached your defences, Dave. Let's have a call straight away in Ipswich. Hello, Gary.
Hiya, Nick. How you doing?
I'm great, mate.
We had a good one last week. Sorry, I got a bit out of hand, but, you know, it had to be.
Okay.
The lady from France, I think her name was Sally, saying about specialised pallets and a shortage of trucks and whatever.
Yeah.
And doom and gloom about food shortages. That really is, quite a lot of that was rubbish. I've never heard so many disingenuous facts coming through. What I'd like to say about the food supply chain is the hauliers and the shippers, the manufacturers, the growers, all of these people, they're on strict and very tight margins. Profit margins are really tight for these companies. And they're not going to have their governments in Spain, France, Italy, Holland, Belgium holding them up. They want their continuous supply going through. The ports want this continuous supply going through. That there will be no hold-ups and shortages of food because there will not be allowed to do so. Because if you look at what's happening in the States with the haulage industry, so many companies are going bust this year. They can't afford to do that because the jobs and all of the things that go with it are too important. The whole structure has to be kept going. And the reason why companies like car manufacturers, the high street shops, are all struggling and whatever, it's legislation, rules, regulations, the different rules that are coming in for the climate change, and they can't cope with all the numbers of rules and regulations that have grown over the years, and they can't keep up with it. It's all very well being in a government department where you make these rules and then you adhere to them because you're paid by taxpayers' money. If the taxpayers' money is not there, even they will struggle to uphold these rules and regulations.
You know, this sounds like the sort of far right wing. Let's get rid of all the consumer protection rules and regulations, which the far right, most demented Brexiters are yearning for.
No, far from it. The way I see it, a lot of the companies, shareholders, the chairman and the executives and whatever, they're taking far too much money out of these companies and not putting it back into the system. And this is the problem with Europe in general, that there's far too many people that are wealthy and they're not spreading that money around.
What's that got to do with Europe?
Well, what's that got to do with Europe is that they've allowed this to happen over the past 30 years.
You've got to be kidding me. What's that got to do with Europe?
Well, because it has. Because the system has allowed the banking system to take out the money that they want and not put it back into the infrastructure and the actual companies that are involved employing people.
How are they going to prevent that?
Well, you're going to have to look at the whole system.
How can we escape responsibility for that? It's Europe's fault?
No, it's the whole system's fault.
Right. Capitalism, you mean?
It's a system that can't be sustained.
Right, capitalism, you mean?
Well, yeah, if you like, you can call it that. You have to think that these companies, they work on such small margins of profit. You look at the supermarkets that you talk about, that they are working on probably 1 or 2% profit on maybe billions of pounds worth of turnover.
So you would be surprised if the supermarkets were saying that, yes, there will quite possibly be shortages of food and increased prices. You'd be surprised if they were saying that, right?
I would be surprised if the number of supermarkets...
They are saying it. Retailers have warned that there will be shortages of fresh food coupled with potential price rises if there is a no-deal Brexit. The body representing supermarkets and other chains told MPs that they couldn't understand why Michael Gove claimed otherwise. Fresh food travelling
into... Why is Mark Carney saying today that a no-deal Brexit won't be as bad as it's being maintained?
No, it said it won't be as bad as they had previously thought if they get a deal.
So you know, it's what you can say one extreme, and I can say another extreme,
No, this isn't
and
me.
neither of us are probably going to be right.
Well, this isn't me, Gary. This is retailers. Fresh food. Listen to me. Fresh food travelling into the UK from the EU will not be subject to checks, but delays caused by checks on the French side could mean that perishables such as tomatoes, lettuce, cabbage, cauliflower and cheese could be hit by delays. Now, I don't mind not having cabbage and tomatoes, but cheese, it will affect fresh food in various ways, availability, shelf life and potentially cost, said the Director of Food and Sustainability of the British Retail Consortium, who I would imagine, Gary, knows a bit more about retail than you or I do.
The supply chain has grown over the years to such a well-oiled machine. It won't change one jot. And as for other goods and whatever,
how can you sit there and say that you disagree with the Director of Food of the British Retail Consortium, that he knows nothing but you do?
Well, I
right. So it's all about belief. And no expert that tells you otherwise is going to chip away at this edifice of belief. Milton Keynes, hello, Bob.
Nick, there's a couple of things that you've said that I'd like to discuss with you.
A couple of three things, yes.
A couple of things. A couple of things could be three, if you like, but it's only two.
Couple of
full
four things.
Employment in this country, and we want to there's certain jobs we don't want to do. But before that, I'm a bit concerned about your health. How are your eyeballs?
And my eyeballs?
Yeah, because you said earlier...
Still where they used to be.
No, you said earlier to someone that you're up to your eyeballs in people. Oh, no, not a caller with material. Let's get on to full employment.
Painful. Red Hill, hello, Vivian.
Oh, good evening. Hey, thanks for having us on your show, Nick. It's all been a positive week for Brexit. How have you been?
Great, mate.
Excellent.
Up to this point, anyway.
Well, I try not to ruin your great show so far. You've had some great callers, and I loved some of the points you were making earlier about, representation and how, we could possibly be paying the MPs more. Pay them more, and then you get less corruption, yeah? Sounds like a good plan to me.
Well, it's possible.
Really,
I don't think the one necessarily follows the other, but it's possible.
Well, you come up with a great point. Maybe you should just do all politics on your show, really. Make a better idea. Or maybe have a couple more radio stations, have a big sort of televised radio debate or something, get it all bashed out in a couple of hour-long sessions. Well, but yeah, I was just going to talk about mitigation strategies. We're officially facing the no deal coming up, which is very exciting for everyone. And so you're looking at the European Union reacting to the UK taking over control of its public subsidies and its internal policies. So obviously we're looking at how they're going to react and what they're going to throw at us, what kind of average or mean tariff they're going to throw our way. So a lot of discussion was about the Morocco 85% tariff. So we'd be having to, our goods would cost 85% more around the world or to European trade partners, which would be, on its face value quite a problem considering the amount of, tariff exposure we'd have. So obviously we've done a few little bit of maths. I'm not specifically a mathematician. I haven't got GCSE. I think I've got a GCSE in maths.
You think?
But it's not. I think I have. I can't tell you for sure. I couldn't tell you for sure. It's a long time since I've looked at my GCSEs. But as I say, it's not. I mean, I've only picked this stuff up from stuff my old dear was chatting about in the 90s, So I wouldn't know what she's talking about. It's just that when you hear so much people like Juncker being nasty about the people that started this movement, like my old dear, basically it's telling them that they're going to go to hell, they didn't have a plan and all that, it gets upsetting for us. So we have to call in every once in a while, mate, and I really appreciate you giving us the 5 minutes.
5?
But I was just wondering for yourself. One for yourself, Nick.
I haven't signed up for 5. Let's see if we can get to 3.
Duty and tax reforms, okay? So where are we looking at duty and tax reforms, okay? So we're looking at like £220 billion in the informal economy, and we've got 165 tariff exposure, 165 billion in exposure for our exports, export tariff exposure. So we've got 220 billion in the informal economy. So I'm looking at the price of an eighth of marijuana is going to probably remain static, if we imply duty reforms on these drugs, so cocaine, marijuana, these obvious money spinners, that we could definitely compensate for any amount of tariffs, even an 85% tariff from the EU, we'd pretty much be able to cover.
All right, so now it's becoming clear. What you're saying is for any loss that we incur from Brexit, we could legalise all drugs and reap the rewards. And prostitution.
Yeah, drugs and prostitution, of course. These would be obvious. Obviously, taking duty reform, maybe even a 10% tax break on the informal economy. There's a lot of boys out there working in vans every day that can't properly, legitimately claim an income because they're under a threshold of, and they can't get employed higher because of the the regulations on employment. If we liberalised the employment regulation, there wouldn't be so many boys out there working off the books. That informal economy, we could get some tax revenue out of that, even if we just broke it down at 10%. This is billions and billions of pounds. We've got £300 billion in mitigations there.
Okay, all right. Well, put it in an email for me, Vivian. Here's a call in Merseyside. Hello, Eileen.
Hiya, Nick.
Eileen.
I just wanted to say about the good old USA and Trump and the rest of them.
Yeah.
They're after the King's ransom of Julian Assange, who is actually blow them out the water of their inconsistencies of the war ethics. And what I'd like to say is they've put and hidden Chelsea Manning away. And also,
have they?
When you're telling people about illegalities of war, like shooting down civilians, that isn't a crime. And I know they won him because of a rape smear. In my case, it's all smear. But he said he would face charges here, and the court, he didn't want to be extradited, and we all know why. It's sick what's going on, and the government here in cahoots with the good old USA, wagging its tail, running round. It makes me sick, and no wonder. People keep saying about this deal, May couldn't get the deal through because it's the European Union that don't want to change the deal they've provided and they've accepted. They won't move on it. It's not us, it's them.
No,
do you know what I mean, Nick?
No, I don't, Eileen. It is us.
It isn't us.
It is. They negotiated over years. It took years of negotiation to come up with a perfectly reasonable deal. And now we're saying, oh, we don't like that deal. And they're saying, okay, well, what don't you like about it? Can you come forward with some positive proposals as to what we can do from now on? And our collective response is, we've got no idea. We're not coming up with anything.
Oh, you're a Ramona. I'm a Democrat. I'm a democracy person. And
well, let's have another referendum then.
Well, why should we have another referendum?
So you're not for democracy, Eileen. You are for rule by whoever shouts the loudest.
Okay, go on. Finish off what you're going to say.
That is it.
Pardon?
You're not for democracy. You're for you. You're for whatever you think is in your interest. I'm sorry, but you've been misinformed. It's not in your interest, Eileen, unless you're a millionaire, in which case you'll be just fine.
Ask me who I voted for. Who did I vote for?
When?
When this Brexit and stay came out. Who did I vote for? Ask me.
Well, you don't vote for anyone. You voted for...
When the vote came for this Brexit and exit or stay,
right, well, you weren't
who did I vote for? Do you want to know?
You didn't vote
and marred my paper.
Anyone.
I went and spoiled my paper.
Well, what did you do that for?
Because I knew what this would happen before it even happened, Nick. It was on the cards.
What happened?
Went through that it would be passed from pillar to post and it would be ignored because they'd done it in the 70s. They'd done it in the 70s.
It would be ignored. What, you're a seer. You could see into the future.
No, I'm not a seer. I'm just not stupid like the majority of people by the looks of things who are being fed fodder day after day on this whole issue by incompetent government and opposition who are into it for their own little nest egg, what they can get out
all right,
of it.
Okay, well, I know I'll regret this, but what's the answer? What's the solution, Eileen, in your informed opinion?
Okay, if you can't do the job, get out the job, like May did. That's my solution to the. If you're incompetent at something, give it to someone.
That's not a solution.
It is a solution
No,
if you
it
get
isn't.
people in jobs that can do them.
Yeah, but what do you
somewhere.
want them to do is the question.
Get the job done.
What does that mean?
Negotiate over the table. EU are being as stubborn as some of the politicians who have got rods in the iron in EU business and etc., and we're tied up with the Galileo and all this malarkey. And instead of doing what they're supposed to be doing, they're just feeding us fodder.
Right, okay. Well, it's a lot of words, Eileen, but it doesn't really add up to much that makes sense. But I appreciate it. Galileo, Magnifico. Let's have Slough. Ugh. Vince.
What's his name? Cameron's book. I think it should be called How to Be Crap at Your Job. I think that would be good. And then maybe with a little subtitle strapline underneath saying, and still become a millionaire afterwards.
Yes.
That would be quite good.
Mm.
And also, you're going on about people who voted Leave and not being very nice about them.
Who,
Now,
me?
I'm going to be... Yeah, well, I know. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm old. I voted Leave, and I did it out of spite. I did. I'm sorry, but I did. I'm not going to lie to you.
Right.
I listened to all these young people. They can't get out of bed. They're moaning. The television isn't right. They can't cook. They can't do anything.
Too busy interfering with each other's clothing. I know.
Disgusting. You know what I'm saying? And then I thought, do you know what I'll do? Just to really irritate them, I'm going to vote Leave so they can't even go on holiday. And that's why I did it. And at least I'm being honest about it. And I'm old, so I'm going to be dead before it all bothers me. I don't care.
How old is old?
I'm 61.
61?
Oh!
Wow, that is old. Hampton, Matthew.
Yeah, good morning. Good evening.
Yeah.
We've had some nutcases on the show tonight, myself included. But, I mean, what the hell are people going on about? I mean, you got a woman there a minute ago going on about halos and pizza.
Yeah.
When we're meant to be sticking to the subject, which is Brexit.
This is a very serious programme, Matthew. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, and well, basically, why are people going on about food shortages?
Yeah,
It's complete load of cobblers.
You don't know that.
Oh, for me it is. Listen, it's been very entertaining listening to the show, and it's made me laugh loads.
Yeah, but
you know, more near enough as much as the Steve Allen show is, which is something I listen to every day.
Yeah, he's a hoot.
Well, Steve's all right. I like Steve.
When do you ever sleep? You listen
When
to
do I ever sleep?
Yeah, well, you listen to Steve Allen and me. When do you pencil in
Well, no,
sleeping?
this is the first time I've actually heard you, to be honest. I had an early night at 7 o'clock tonight because I was tired.
Yeah.
Now,
when you say tired, do you mean drunk?
No, tired.
That's what I'm saying.
So basically, 10 p.m. I woke up.
Yeah. 3 hours sleep you had?
Yeah, I've had 3 hours sleep, and no doubt I have another 5 till the morning.
Yeah.
But basically, I mean...
What do you do for a living, Matthew, on such a short period of sleep?
Insurance.
Air traffic control. Oh, insurance.
Yeah. I've been a broker for 25 years.
Okay.
So anyway, to cut a long story short...
Too late.
Food shortages is just a complete way of prolonging the situation.
How do you know?
Well, that's just my opinion.
Oh, because your opinion is worth nothing in this regard because you're just making it up.
Well, how is yours then?
Well, I didn't express an opinion on this matter. You are.
Yes, but you've had a go at Boris.
Yeah.
Right. Like a lot of people have.
Yes.
But there's also people out there that 52% voted out.
But what's that got to do with food shortages?
Well,
if the government's own people say that there's going to be just thinking positive thoughts will not put food on the table, Matthew.
Yes.
let's stick to the facts. Yeah.
Oh, facts.
3 years ago, or just over 3 years ago, more voted out than voted in.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with food shortages?
Well, why do we should have voted? We should have gone ages ago.
But what's that got to do with food shortages?
I don't know, but why? what, you just go down the shop and buy some food.
Yes, but if there's not food in the shops.
Oh, come on, mate! This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Matthew, but you're basing that on no information of any kind whatsoever.
Yeah, but do you believe that there will be food shortages then?
Well, if the combined might of the civil service, who have looked into this, armed with actual facts and information, not just a belief
They're
thought
not
up
facts,
off the
though,
top.
are they? They're predictions.
Well, they're predictions based on facts, whereas yours are just a sort of a religious belief.
No, I disagree.
Yes,
Anyway,
this assertion that everything is going to be fine is not based on any information at all other than a wish for it to be so. And I'm amazed I had to point that out, but apparently these days you can't take anything for granted. Westminster, Adam.
Nick, good evening, sir.
Adam.
I would like to take umbrage with you about a few minor... well, I'm sorry, sir. Somebody has to. You wrongly stated earlier on that there was mass crowds of demonstrators ripping up the roads and bollards and whatnot, especially in Westminster and goodness knows other places. I was in Westminster today, and I can tell you this from the those on the ground. There was about 2.5 people on Waterloo Bridge. One of them had a peg leg, and there's some other old geezer with a white cap and a coat. He could have been a bowling team captain for all I know. Where are these mass protests next? They're certainly not on Waterloo Bridge. Listen, I was there today with my ice cream van, prepared to give everybody a free ice cream and a boiled egg.
Yeah, okay. 0345 6060 973. First of all, I didn't say that there was a mass protest of people ripping up bollards and chucking paving stones. I was reporting what the Mail reported. I was just telling you what they reported in the Mail, as opposed to what they reported in the Guardian. So you weren't listening to me at all. Second, I think I've heard that call before, and it didn't make much sense before either. Still, better luck next time. You got an ice cream van, and you were giving out boiled eggs. Yeah, sure you were. Let's have... who's been waiting the longest? Be totally fair about this. Malvern Hills. Nelson.
Hi, you all right?
Yes, Nelson.
Yeah, it's Nelson. Yeah, but the vote was gone, wasn't it, for, to leave. But I was a Remainer.
What?
I was a Remainer.
You're a Remainer, yeah.
But now I want to vote to leave. That's the thing.
You want to vote to leave now?
I'd vote to leave now, yeah, because of the way it's gone now.
And what leads you to that conclusion?
I'm mixed race anyway. My mum's Scottish. She died last year, and my dad's Mauritian.
Does that have anything to do with what we're talking about?
Yeah, I think you're talking about Brexit and everything. Is it not?
Yeah, but so it doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about.
What are you talking about then?
We're not talking about you being mixed race, specifically.
Yeah, I know that, yeah, but what are you talking about, Brexit?
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold, Nelson. But you want to vote leave, you say? Huh. Stockton on Tees. Hello, Brian.
Yeah, good morning, Nick.
Yeah, good morning,
Good to
Brian.
talk to you. Yeah. What's 1 times 1 then?
1 times 1. Well, that's an easy one. 2. One times one. 1 times 1 is 2. Of course it is.
You can't count, can you? It's 1.
It's not a counting exercise.
1 times 1 is 1.
1 times 1 is 2. Any fool know that.
You were serious though, weren't you?
Huh?
You weren't kidding there.
When?
You weren't kidding. You meant that.
I never kid on this show.
You kidded about all the other numbers, but you weren't kidding there.
1 times 1 is 2. Look it up.
Right. Stop building everybody's hopes up. Stop building everybody.
Huh? What?
Stop building everybody's hopes up. We're going to leave, Nick. They're just wasting money. Now, we were supposed to leave in March, right?
If they just voted for Theresa May's deal, we'd be out by now.
We're not talking about it. We don't want a deal. Right?
Why not?
So 10 months.
Why not? Why don't you want the deal?
We don't want the money it's costing us. They're whinging about him spending $13 billion on the police, the NHS, and all this, right? Now, if they get the way, and we stay in till January the 31st, that has cost us $10 billion. We're paying £1 billion a month.
Yeah, but we get money back from paying that. But you know, yeah. But if you pay $1 billion and you get $2 billion back, for example, then it's worth it, right?
Right.
Yes.
I've been listening to you tonight, right?
Mm.
And you have I thought you were warning people up at first about Brexit. Now you're tongue in cheek, but I don't think you are, Nick.
About which
I'm
bit?
getting worried about you.
Which bit?
You said things tonight, right?
Yeah.
That you just lost the plot.
Well, like what?
You know about the war, right?
The war?
The war. And you said the Russians won their battle.
Well, the Russians won the Second World War, pretty much, yeah.
Then you said the Americans done their part.
Yeah, their branch.
And you said the British done nothing.
I didn't say that.
You did.
No,
you did.
No, I didn't.
You did.
No, I didn't.
Done very little.
No, I didn't.
Done hardly anything.
Well, now you're backing down.
Right.
What did I actually say?
Do you realise you saying that right?
Well, I didn't say it.
All the British soldiers who died in the war.
Yeah.
You know, come on, Nick. You're out of order, man.
Well, if I had said that, then you may be right. But as you know, I didn't say that. So.
You know, you did actually.
No, but I didn't know.
Right. now, we'll get back to Brexit.
Yeah.
Right.
What are 6/8?
I'm not telling you. I'm talking about Brexit. Right. But the thing is, right. You're just building people's hopes up. The inevitable thing is we're going to leave in some form.
I don't know which show you've been listening to, but I haven't really said anything of the sort. Not on this particular show.
Actually, you realise.
I just think that it should just be over.
Yeah, you realise that we will leave in the end. I know you realise. You know that. The problem is the Remainers don't.
I can't see any other way. Not now. I mean, I just can't imagine us staying in now. So we are setting ourselves up for.
We won't stay in. We're going to leave.
A ruinous future.
Right. What will happen next week? Quickly is he's going to put back a vote to get an election, general election.
Yeah.
That'll get voted down.
It won't get it. Yeah.
That'll get voted down. So then he will try a thing where one line. Where you don't need as many votes, but he hasn't got enough for that as well.
No.
But what he will do to get a general election, what he'll do is he'll say, "I've got no confidence in my own government," right? And then what happens then is the opposition have to form a government, and they can't do it.
Why can't
they? They haven't got the numbers.
They've got the numbers.
But the rebels are not going to vote to put Jeremy Corbyn in. Ammon said himself, "I'd rather boil my head." so he will get. So he puts no confidence in his government, and he will get his general election, and we will leave on October the 31st.
Yeah, doubtful.
With a deal or no deal.
Yeah, doubtful. They should just bring Theresa May's deal back, and we'll vote for that.
Theresa May, he wants to go anywhere near that signature thing of Theresa May. That will kill him in a general election if he does that. If he goes anywhere near that.
He's doomed anyway. I mean, he doesn't represent the Conservative Party anymore. It's the Nigel Party. Nigel Farage has staged a reverse takeover of the Conservative Party. I mean, who even are they now?
Look, if he goes for Theresa May's deal, Farage will get a lot stronger. That's why he won't go near it.
What's wrong? Okay, distill your objection to her deal without using the phrase "it's a trap."
Right. You said, what is the matter with their deal?
Yeah, what's the matter with it?
Right, and you said that we get our fishing waters back? We don't, because France won't let us. We know that. They'll keep bartering over it. So we won't get the fishing waters back.
You understand that the fishing waters, the fishing quotas, were doled out and then sold by our fisher persons. They didn't take them. We sold them. But you know that,
we get them
right?
back.
Only if we buy them back. We sold them.
Yes, but you don't get your money back because it's a $6 billion a year minimum industry if you get all your waters back to
Oh, Brian, you know who makes more money than do you know which industry makes more money and employs more, and listen to me, and employs more people than the fishing business in this country?
What?
Harrods. Harrods the shop employs more people and puts more money in tax back into the economy than the entire fishing business put together.
You know why?
Harrods. People just keep bleating on and on and on about our fishing industry like it's actually important to the economy of this country. It flat out isn't.
At the moment, but when you get the waters back, there'll be thousands more.
You're not listening to me, Brian. I know you're trying to gloss over it because it is an inconvenient truth. But we sold our fishing rights.
You just said, what is the matter with it? Nothing the matter with their deal. Everything was the matter with it.
Yeah, but you haven't come up with a single thing. Not one single thing. Go on, tell me. Tell me.
The backstop.
Tell me. The backstop. Yeah.
The
the backstop is necessary because we are insisting on leaving.
But what we're saying is, they can hold you in there for as long as they want, and that's why they can demand all concessions while we're stuck in the backstop.
So it's a trap. This is just such infantile nonsense, and I know why people like Nigel Farage to say this, because it rallies troops to his cause.